So I brought in my material. I dragged the B material into the timeline here. What's important is to go up to the sequence settings and change these settings. We're going to change these settings to conform with UHD 4K, which is 3840 by 2160. Notice it's 24 FPS, that's fine. It also, you don't want 29, so let's leave it at 24. And it's Apple ProRes Lite, and I'm saying OK. Changes will change the preview frame size and say OK. Now notice that this frame size is very much smaller, so we can scale that up. Well, this is what we want to see here is in the effects control window when we click this. When you click on this image, then you're going to see, you'll see motion over here. And what we want to do is to scale this up. Watch what happens to this image. So when you bring this scale up here, right here, the idea would be to leave the 4:3 formatting. And now if we can look at that a little bit bigger, let's bring it so it's 50%. Let's bring it to 25%. Now you can see the edges and how that media is working. Up in the window here, I clicked on Lumetri Color, and I brought up this color wheel here. Sometimes you have to mess around with the interface to get comfortable with it. As long as I have this particular one selected, I can sharpen the image. But what I want to do here is the basic correction and go into contrast. I'd like to increase the contrast of this. And the exposure, I can kind of leave. Let's scrub through and see how this is looking. Yeah, I think it looks great. But I still would like to have more deep blacks. There we go. So what I'm doing is bringing the blacks in more. That really enhances the look of the film. Notice it's not entirely scaled up to the top. I like to try to get it to be as perfect as possible. Scale it up just a little bit more. There you go. If we scale it back, we can see the edges. Okay, so it actually could go into the position. We can raise it up. But let's just scale it up a little bit more. So this is kind of the perfect solution. Once we have this in the timeline, then we're going to go back to our media browser and look at our media browser. This is our Prelinger movies. Sometimes you have to click back. If we open the Prelinger movies, you can see that what I have here is this one, and I have, as we said before, the Hindenburg. So I'm going to put the Hindenburg here, and you can see if that needs scaling. Okay, that needs a lot of scaling. So what we want to do is come over here to the effects window. We want to click on this, and we want to scale that one up. So let's scale it from here, and we're going to scale it up. That's going to the map. That's allowing us to continue. Look at that Hindenburg material now scaled up to 4K. So it still looks good. We're able to retain some of it. It looks much better than, I mean, it will look better on the screen if it's scaled up. During this demo, I don't want you to use the pre-existing intertitles. I'd like for you to make up your own words that work. Create an ironic connection to the image or contrast to the image. So we don't have to talk about Hindenburg here, but we might talk about some other kind of disaster that creates an interesting poetic resonance to this. What you can do is turn off the audio track. I want you to create your own soundtracks with this. You're going to mute the track and build other tracks below it, okay? So the idea is to cut the segments that you're interested in using and creating some kind of montage with this. The assignment calls for speed manipulation. It does say slow this plus your soundtrack, your sound effects material, which would be interesting. But what you could do here is to make some cuts.